Hi, this is Steve Lastic from Total Print USA. Today I'll be showing you how to install your new printer or multifunction printer on your Windows PC. Even though this is one of the easiest things to do, so many get it wrong, and that's why we get a lot of help desk calls because of it. The biggest sign is usually when users complain about not being able to print jobs not coming out at all, or very slow printing. And in most cases, it ends up being that the printer was not installed correctly on the Windows PC. So today I'm going to show you my preferred method, which I've been using for many years and has worked out very well for me. But before I get into that, let me show you the two biggest issues that I see when I look at how a printer was installed on a Windows PC. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to add a printer to this PC. In this case here I'm using an HP LaserJet 57540 as my example printer. So the most common way that people install printers is just simply by going to the Windows Start button, choosing the settings, going to the devices, and choosing printers and scanners, and add a printer or scanner. Now Windows will go out and detect whatever printers that it sees on the network and give you the option to add that printer to the PC. So in this case there's my 575. It actually shows it twice because it sees it by the IP address and also by the host name. And that's how you can tell that this one's by the host name, because it's showing the last 6 digits there. I'm going to go ahead and add this one. And basically what Windows will do is connect to the device, figure out the driver, download whatever it needs, and then set the printer up on the PC. Okay, now that the printer is installed, let's take a look at how it actually got installed. So if we go here to manage the printer and get into the printer properties, the two areas I was talking about, I'm going to show you first off, is the ports. In most cases, Windows is going to install it as a WSD port versus a TCP/IP port. The WSD ports give us a lot of problems with printers, so we always recommend using a standard TCP/IP port. In this case here, you can see I have a couple of them down here from previous installs of this printer on my PC. But that's the difference on how they should look. The other thing they're going to probably notice, if you go to the Advanced tab, it may or may not pick the right driver. In this case, it actually did, so that's a good thing. A lot of times I'll see it'll be set with a Microsoft IPP class driver. So if that's the case, you definitely want to change that to the correct driver. So those are the two areas. The ports and the driver are the two areas that I see most common causing the problem with the printer on a PC. So let me show you my preferred method on how to properly install a printer on your PC. So in this case here, what I want to do is I'm going to the HP website. It's an HP device. I want to get the latest drivers. So I simply go to hp.com, hover over the support, go down to software and drivers, and then choose printer for the product type. In the product type, you just start typing in the model of the printer that you have. As you type it, it'll come up with a search result. Simply click on the one that matches the type of printer you have, and it'll come to this page with all these different print drivers. Now you're going to notice that there's a lot of different print drivers here. I'm going to expand all these sections so you can see everything. Basically, you have the basic drivers are the device-specific print drivers. These are print drivers that were designed specifically for that particular model and supports the features of that model. So you have a version 3 and a version 4. Depending on what you like to use, you can use the device-specific print driver. In our case, we typically recommend using the HP Universal Print Driver. So when you come down to this section here, you're going to see two different options. One's for PCL6, the other one's for PostScript. So in most cases, we recommend PCL6, but depending on your application, you may have to use the PostScript. So let me go ahead and download that. And I'm going to go ahead and run the installer. So this is basically a WinZip installer that will go and run this install program when it gets done. And in this case here, I just want to extract the files because I'm going to add the printer manually instead of having this installer add it for me. So let me uncheck that. And the other thing to notice here is where this gets stored. You can change the directory, but it goes to the C drive in most cases. So it's going to be under my C drive. So let me go ahead and unzip those. And now I've got those files unzipped. So now I can add that printer to my PC. Now I have the correct print driver. So let's do the same steps. We're going to go to settings. Actually, let's go back here. I want to get to the main settings page. Then we'll go to devices, printers and scanners, and add a printer and scanners. And in this case, I'm going to not choose one from the list. I'm going to choose this option that says the printer that I want isn't listed. This way I can kind of control how it gets added and make sure that it gets added with the correct port and the correct driver. So here I'm going to choose the add a printer using a TCP IP address or host name. I always use the IP address because it's more reliable. If the DNS is not working correctly, then it doesn't resolve by host name. So here I want to make sure I definitely choose TCP IP device, and then type in the IP address of the printer here. Now what it'll automatically do for you is to create a port. The port number will, if you added this multiple times, you get an underscore 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in this case, I've done it several times on this PC, and that's why you're seeing underscore 5. The other thing I want to note here is make sure the query the printer is unchecked, because it'll try to choose the print driver, and it's not going to choose the one that I just downloaded. Let me go to next. And on the next screen, if I go here, I can say have disk instead of choosing in the print drivers there. I'm going to choose browse, and if I go to my C drive, and I can drill into the folder that the driver's just downloaded to. So that's my HP Universal Print Driver. In this case, I have two different versions. I have an older version that I've been using. This is the latest one today. So that's why I always get the latest driver whenever possible. And you can pick on any one of these INF files. It'll recognize the driver. So go ahead and click open and then OK here. And now it'll show you the HP Universal Print Driver. So these are basically both the same, just one has the version number. I like to use the one with the version number because I can see what version print driver that I'm using. So I'll click next. And in this case, I've already installed this thing. It says use the driver that's installed recommended. In most cases, I always like to replace the driver. If you have never installed that driver before, you will not get this screen. And then here you can type the printer name, and I'm going to call it a friendly name of something that I know what it is. And click next, and then the printer will be installed. Okay, once the printer is installed, it'll take you to a few more screens before you're done with the wizard. In this case, I always do select do not share the printer. I definitely don't want someone else printing through a printer on my PC, so I always make sure that it's set to that. And then here you can choose set as default printer and print a test page. Now when you print this test page, the first time, depending on the driver you're using, in most cases it's going to establish communication with the printer. It's going to go and check all the settings, make sure it knows all the features of the printer, and set the print driver up correctly. And there's my test page, and I can see that it's printed correctly, and I can hear the printer printing. And that's it for adding it. So let's go ahead and take a look at that and see the differences when I go into the Manage option. So if I go to Manage the printer, again, Printer Properties, and I go to ports. So the first thing I notice here, it's going to set it up as a TCP IP port, number 5. The other thing, if I go to the Advanced button, it's going to show me the print driver that I chose. So that's the easiest way to set it up, and it always ensures that you're setting up your printer properly on your Windows PC. Thank you for listening, and I hope you learned some valuable information today, and look forward to some great future videos. Thank you and have a great day.